Hello, this is Doug Brook at NorthStar DHI Services. Today we're going to be talking about somatic cell counts and how we can determine those cows that have some issues, whether they're chronic somatic cell count issues or new infections on a test day. So once we're in PCDART, we're going to be taking a look at somatic cell counts on the most current test day. First thing I'm going to look at is a cow graph. So I'm going to go up here to the upper left, click on the cow graph. What I want to choose is previous versus current somatic cell count score. So each one of these dots on this scatter graph is a cow. The regression line, I'm just going to delete that because that's really unimportant. If I want to know which one of these cows belongs to which one of the dots, I can show ID, but that gets to be a pretty busy scatter graph, so I'm going to not show that. I'm going to put in some crosshairs because I want to know which cows have somatic cell count chronic that are above 4.0 linear score this test day and last test day. So I'm going to move those lines so they're on a linear score 4 and 4. And here we have 4 different quadrants. This upper quadrant would be the chronic cows. That's 17.3%. We have the new infection cows here, that's 5.6%. We have the cured, which is 8.6%, and then we have the rest of the cows. If I want to be able to print that, I certainly can. There is a print icon up in the upper left, and I can go ahead and print that. But now, since we have all these cows, I want to know which cows are in which one of these 2 quadrants, the chronic cows or the new infection cows. So to do that, I'm going to create a new user report. Once I get out of this graphing and go into reports, for user reports I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this chronic and new somatic cell counts. So the database items I want to be able to list on this particular report, I want to know what group they're in. I also want to have an identification so I know which cow we're working with. I want to look at current milk, I want to look at current fat percentage, I want to look at current protein percentage. I also want to look at current somatic cell count. I want to look at previous somatic cell count. And I'm going to be using a reason on the report so I have the opportunity to tell anybody that's looking at a report which one of these 2 groups these cows are going to be in, whether it's chronic or new infections. What's the bulk tank percent contribution of the somatic cell count that these cows have? Now in the filters and controls, I need to just have my chronic mastitis cows. Since we're looking at linear score, anything that is 4.0 to 9.9 as a somatic cell count linear this month, and previous somatic cell count score 4.0 to 9.9. My reason on the report is going to be chronics. So if I were to just preview this report at this particular time, it's just going to show me all my chronic cows with the information that I have listed. One thing I want to add to this particular reports, I want to have lactation number also, so we're going to use database item 8. But since I want chronic cows and new infection cows, I'm going to put in an OR statement in the filters and controls. We're going to use 9, which is the current somatic cell count score, which is 4.0 to 9.9. Previous somatic cell count score, which would be 0.0 to 4.0. And 684, which would be the reason on the report. That's going to be new infections. If I take a preview of this report, now I have my chronic and my new infection cows listed here. One thing I think I also want to do when I go into subgrouping, I want to know by lactation number whether I'm having an issue with my first lactation animals, my second lactation animals, or my third and greater lactation animals. So I go into subgroupings. Major is going to be lactation number with values lower and upper 1, 2, and then 3 and greater. If I were to go ahead and preview this report, I can be looking at first, second, and third lactation where the chronic and new infections are. I can look at this percent of bulk tank. Here is a cow that has the 1,900,000 actual count. She produced 7% of the somatic cell counts that would have been in that bulk tank. We have a couple other cows here that are older cows that do have a higher percent of the somatic cell count that they contribute to the bulk tank. So once I go ahead and save that, I'm going to save it as number 625 because that fits into my numbering scheme, and that's been added. Today we have been looking at somatic cell counts, chronic and new infections. This is Doug Brook at NorthStar DHI Services. You may contact me anytime at the numbers and email address that is on the screen. Thank you.